Welcome to Half Full and a Cup of Joe with Joe Fulford, the show that's always overflowing with optimism and caffeine. Joe's got his game face on and his coffee cup full, ready to dive into the world of football. From the Florida Gators to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and beyond to college and NFL football, Joe's got the analysis, the insights, and the passion to get you pumped up and ready for the game. So sit back, relax, and fill up your cup with Joe. And now from West Des Moines, Iowa, here is Joe Fulford.
It's been a long time coming. We have waited for so long, and now we are just two days away from the start of college football as we get into week -0. We're going to explain all that in just a few minutes. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Have Full of Cup of Joe. You're surely Joe Fulford, also known as The Animal, with you on a beautiful Thursday night here in West Des Moines, Iowa, as we get ready for what's going to be, I think, it's going to be an exciting season of football in the National Football League, and also, of course, college football as well. With these boys right here is the main topic conversation, but hey. We're going to talk about it all in the SEC. We got some great guests coming up tonight. Ron Meadows from the Lowdown. He's going to join me. Browne of SEC Inside is very popular on the podcast scene. Knows a lot about football, not just with the University of Florida, but also things related around the SEC. And we'll talk about that, including the news that broke today that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. Well, as I said, Rob Browne, he will be joining me in just a few minutes. But, of course, we got to talk about these boys right here, the Pewter Power Boys, just for a couple of minutes. And for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're getting ready to wrap up their preseason Saturday night when they take on the Buffalo Bills. Do not expect to see Baker Mayfield. Do not expect to see a lot of the starters, as they're going to rest those people. Kyle Trask will start. Teddy Bridgewater will come in a little bit later on in the game, and we're going to see what happens in the course of that game. By the way, Chris Godwin was not put on injury reserve, nor was Tristan Wirfs. They'll be on the 45-man roster, and they're going to let them rest, get ready, get healthy as the season goes on. Well, more about the Buccaneers a little bit later on in the show. Let us turn our attention, of course, to these boys right behind me here, and that is the Florida Gators. We are less than 9 days away from the start of college football. Well, actually, it starts this weekend over in London when the Iowa State Cyclones take on Kansas State over in London. That game's at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Check the game out on ESPN. Anthony Beck, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer player, his son Rocco Beck, he plays for the Iowa State Cyclones. The guy is just an amazing dude, and I think you're going to hear a lot about him as the season goes on. But that's Iowa State, We're talking about the boys behind me, the Florida Gators. They kick off the season next Saturday when they take on Long Island University as the 2025 road to the playoffs begin. And of course, to talk about all that, let's bring in a man who knows a lot about the SEC and other things sports, not just with football, with basketball, national champion Florida Gators, but, anything that they may want to talk about there. Ron Browne, host of SEC Inside, joins me on this edition. And yes, of course, we talk about all things football, basketball, Florida Gators national champions. It's just really amazing. I got that little lump in my throat.
I love it. Hey, Florida national champion. I was talking to Buddy Martin before we came on. There's only one school in America that has 3 national championships in football and basketball. That is Florida, and you're the only school that can say that. But man, love being on here with you. Had a blast Tuesday on the Lowdown with Loren Meadows, and talk about SEC and whatever. Because if they keep score, I love it.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens during the course of the season. But let's go back in time to last year, at a time when there was a lot of a lot of depression within the Florida Gator program. Everybody thought Billy Napier should be given a copy of the home game. Scott Strickland, the AD, comes out and makes this announcement. Billy Napier is going to be back for another season. And then lo and behold, they get on a 4-game winning streak to end the season, including the bowl win in the Gasparilla Bowl. And now with the recruits that they have coming in this year, Robert, this looks like a team that's going to be very noticeable in the SEC in 2025.
Yeah, I agree with that. Last year, before the season, the predictions for Florida were 3 or 4 wins. I picked them to win 8 because I look at the blue chip roster, the blue chip index, which is a measure of 4- and 5-star players signed in every 4-year cycle. Florida was at 63%, which was 9th best in the country. And then I started thinking about they are Florida, and Billy Napier didn't get a lobotomy. You know, he mentored under his father, great coached till he died from a wheelchair at the end. Also Dabo Swinney at Clemson, also Nick Saban at Alabama, and he won 41 games at Louisiana over in Lafayette. So then when DJ Lagway comes in, and every game he started and finished the game, the Gators won, and they finished 6-1. So look, if a dog will bite, he'll do it when he's a pup. That's DJ Lagway, and that's Florida.
Yeah, and of course, you know, for DJ Lagway, he came into this season with a lot of questions. You know, by now there was a lot of questions about his health, about the leg, about this ankle sprain. He's wearing a cast on his boot. And then from Billy Napier's comments that I just saw a little while ago, you know, he played a full scrimmage for the first time during fall camp, and according to Billy, he looks pretty good. But you know, I kind of wonder, you know, if they get ready to take on Long Island, how much we'll actually see of him play, because really and truthfully, this first game is about second and third stringers and what you have for the future.
Yeah, and Billy Napier said it a few weeks ago when he was talking. He said 80% of the time college football teams are playing with, you're playing 2 quarterbacks, not just, you know, mop-up duty in a blowout, or if you're way behind, you're playing them legit snaps. So DJ Lagway's a big guy, 6'3", he's probably pushing 240, but he's got a command. And, you know, you want to know who the starting quarterback is? Just go hang out in the locker room, walk in the locker room. He owns that locker room. And is he hurt? Hell, I don't know. But everybody's banged up. When you play football, it's like being in a car wreck at 75 miles an hour every Saturday. That's what life is like. I think Florida starts with Jake Slaughter. I think they're good.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about that on the Lowdown with Loren Meadows, and we'll get into that in just a minute. By the way, if you have questions for Ron and want to talk about anything with the SEC, post them in chat in Facebook or on YouTube. We'll try and see what we can do for you. I was going to do X, but you have to get a premium subscription. It's like, are you serious? Come on now. It's just, I mean, I'm sorry, but but I may have to do that later on.
Yeah, I will say Twitter's where a lot of sports media hang out. YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Yeah, I have people that I hadn't seen in a while. They'll find you on Facebook. It is a great way to reconnect. Hell, all these social media platforms, they're if you know how to use them, and I've got Brendan Martin, my executive producer. I'm learning, and it's a big payoff. And you got a damn good show, so yeah. And
Brendan's great. He brings it. I'm trying to get him to get his dad to come on my show sometime. That would make my career in the podcasting business.
That'd be awesome.
Next to you, of course.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
we got a great team, man. It's not about one. It's I love your energy, and you know what you're talking about. I mean, that was a great conversation Tuesday night.
You know, and we talked about somebody as, you know, I think it was me that asked a comment. I said, look, you know, when you talk about the Florida Gators and you talk about the most important aspect of this team, what is it? And I believe you said maybe it was the defense. And I came back and said, no, it's the offensive line. It is Jake Slaughter, because as Jake Slaughter goes, so does the rest of this offensive line, along with Austin Barber. I mean, without these two heavy men on the front line, you hardly don't have an offensive line. Now, that's not taken away from the other three guys that are on there, but when you have the expertise of a Jake Slaughter and Austin Barber, you have the makings of what could be a very good offensive line, aka 1986, when you had like Lumbus Browne and you had some other of those good guys back in the 80s. This could possibly be one of those offensive lines that could come out and really surprise a lot of people, given the fact that they don't let this get you their heads and realize it's just one game at a time.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I didn't say the defense. I think it is the offense.
Yeah.
But it's Jake Slaughter. Think about this. Jake Slaughter, the center at Florida, out of Ocala, Marion County, Florida. Then you got Parker Brailsford at Alabama, Connor Lew at Auburn. Those are three right there. Center is the quarterback of the offensive line. And then you got talent around there. And Jaden Ball, Billy Napier talks about him as a freak in the strength and training. He's RB1. He's people think about Florida and they go wideouts, running backs, Ernest Graham, Fred Taylor. I mean, I think about those guys. Eric Redd out of Pembroke Pines, Florida, is one of the best running backs Florida's ever had.
Do you put Jaden Ball in the category of Ernest Graham or
not yet?
Yeah,
those guys are royalty in Florida and SEC lore. I mean, they are Fred Taylor out of Belglade, Eric Rett, Pembroke Pines, and Ernest Graham out of Fort Myers.
Ernest Graham, that's what
What a stud. And his son's a linebacker now.
Oh, yeah, linebacker. Yeah, and now his son is now a linebacker for the University of Florida. I bet you anything before it's all over with. What do you want to bet before it's all over with that Napier decides to make a switch and put him at running back? I don't know. I just get this strange feeling that we might see something like this happen, and it's happened before. He is Ron Browne, usually Joe Fulford, half full of cup of Joe. If you have questions for Ron Browne, post them in the chat room. We love to get some comments and questions from you on what's happening. Now, let's talk about the news of the day, and it came out all of a sudden. Let me rejoin you here. Well, no, I'll keep it double shot. What happened today was this: the SEC met and announced that they have agreed to go to a 9-game regular season starting in 2026. Now, the way this is going to work out is the teams will have a chance to play 9 teams in the SEC. They will get one power conference team to play, and then they can choose whoever 2 other teams they want. So, for example, and also they can have 3 teams that they get to play each and every year. Ron, correct me at any point if I'm wrong on any of this, but this is what I'm understanding. Now, let's take Florida, for example. Next year they'll have 9 games. The one power 10 game that they could face would be Florida State. Then there'll be other schools that they would have to face. Now, fill in the blanks of that and tell me where I'm wrong and make any corrections.
You got it right. And the 3-6, Tony Barnhart was speaking to the Touchdown Club in Memphis Monday night. Afterwards, we were hanging out in the lobby, a group of us, and he verified it. The SEC, he said, we'll go to 9 because that's the only way to preserve the rivalries, like Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia. I'm going to guess Florida, Tennessee, Florida, LSU. Florida would like to keep those on top of Georgia at number 1. So, no, I think the Big Ten was pushing this. But, Joe, we had the executive director of the College Football Playoff Commission, Richard Clark, General Clark, was on our show this morning. And one of the questions I asked him, we had Ken Capps and Matt Dean on with us and Brendan, was you've changed the metrics and how you determine the 12 teams in the college football playoff. How are you going to apply that? And it's pretty obvious from what he said. Let's say LSU loses at Clemson in game 1. They're not going to be punished for the rest of the season. But if you lose to a lower level school like Notre Dame did last year to Northern Illinois early in the season, that may keep you out of the playoffs. So once it was confirmed that you will not be penalized for playing a tough schedule, I think Greg Sankey today, let's go. 9-game schedule, and it's an extra $5 million for each team for playing that 9th game. That's $80 million. You're muted. Oops.
Sorry about that. Yeah, and I think for the Florida to receive that extra $5 million, that can probably add in the financing of the stadium renovation or whatever they want to do, or bonuses or take it to NIL, whatever that they want to do. I mean, speaking of bonuses, you know, we got a bonus for us here tonight because we got some guy from a show. I don't know. It's called the Lowdown. I don't know if you ever heard of the show. I think it's been done a time or two.
Mm-hmm. Is Loren on here with us now?
He is right now. He's right there.
What's up, What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
We just find any better where you could be twins. He is Loren Meadows of the Lowdown, Rob Browne of SEC Inside. Yours truly, Joe Fulford, also known as the Animal, Half Full Cup of Joe, coming at you on this Thursday night here in West Des Moines, Iowa. Some things that are going on around sports. I got the Rays on the side. I don't want to be depressed any further than it is. So I guess we'll talk to Loren Meadows. Get your thoughts on this news that came out today. 9 games in the SEC, something that they've been working on for years, finally comes to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at something like that, obviously Rob and I talked about it on our show Tuesday. I think you were part of that conversation as well. Money. And finally it's like, hey, probably the university presidents got together, the ADs, and said, man, we could really make this work. They didn't need it, but what you do is you keep your brand of football regional, you keep it in the pocket. And I mean, it's just going to be better competition. The one thing I think for the fans, and Rob can maybe attest to this because I don't even remember, but I think the last time, I can't remember the last time Florida went to Auburn, the last time Florida went to Alabama, so you're going to start to see that a lot more, on frequency. And so 9 games gives you that. And you could maybe get and maintain. It also allows you to maintain some of the protected rivalries that a lot of people like to see as they kind of jumble the schedule a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's great for the SEC. It's great for football. And the one thing I like about it for a team, like say you were playing 9 games, you get a team like Florida who's playing that big boy schedule this year, as my nephew says, playing the Avengers. And, you now have the 9 conference games. You go 6-3 in the conference, 9-3. I mean, that's going to put you in a position to, if you win your 9 conference games, to definitely be a consistent playoff team and maybe even find yourself playing your best football like Florida late in the season last year, where I would, you could argue, say they were a top 10 team late in the season. So, that's good. I was kind of out of pocket tonight, so I didn't see the news, but that's good stuff, man. I mean, now the other conferences can stop bellyaching.
Well, that's why you have to turn it to Half Full Cup of Joe, because we enforce the late breaking news, Loren.
Yes,
I mean, you gotta watch Half Full and Cup of Joe every Thursday night, because I will break it here for you.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm a regular guest, so I'm a lifer.
Hey, I will say I will put it this way: you are a regular. Just won't say what kind of regular it is. Okay, Ron Browne. Let's talk about off season the events that happen in the off season with recruiting and anything like that. Just give a simple 1 or 2 minute review of your thoughts of the recruiting from an SEC standpoint. What did you like about it? What you didn't like about it? What was the most surprising recruit, or the least interesting recruit? I mean, just your overall thoughts on the off season, because I frankly thought it was very interesting.
Well, I think there needs to be clarity on what you can and can't do. There are, I think nobody's really loaded up completely, because in November or December, if there's any changes on how you can pay players and how much you can pay them, then you don't want to have to go claw back that money from the prospects. Now, a school like Auburn, Hugh Freeze and John Cohen, the athletic director, reminded me of Jaws, the original movie 50 years ago, when the mayor, Larry, was out there on the beach after multiple shark attacks saying, as you can see, the beaches are open. We'll be celebrating the 4th of July. We welcome all the tourists to come out here, while there's a 20-foot shark out there in the surf just munching on people. That's stupid of Auburn to do that, because you think you can flip people come December, but it's hard to flip people that have been committed and in bed with the school for 6, 8, 10 months. I don't think there's been a whole lot of surprises in recruiting. And I think also there are schools now like Ole Miss that will go after the top 7 or 8 players in Mississippi, and then they're going to bring in 35 or 40 new players a year. I think Arkansas is bringing in 51 new people. So Florida, on the other hand, Billy Napier's right. There's a lot of guys that have been there 2, 3, and 4 years. I think the programs that have got continuity in that culture, guys that trust one another, Loren, you know this. You cannot trust people that you don't know as well. I mean, you can reminisce with strangers that you met 5 minutes ago. It takes longer, but you can do it. I'd rather have a bunch of guys that I trust on my left and trust on my right. You talk about integrity and character, hard work. You meet a man that works laying bricks, busting rocks, pulling a jackhammer out on the interstate. That hardworking guy, that's a guy you can trust. You want to get in a fight with an iron worker or a construction worker, do it at your own risk. Surround me with a bunch of guys that want to play ball. And Billy Napier, Loren, you remember last year, we were madder than a bunch of wet hens, some of those pop-up shows, but you know football. We all know football, but some know it better than others. But some, you got to trust in people. Florida went from 61st in recruiting. Remember?
Yeah.
They finished 7th, okay?
7th, yeah.
You win. You can flip a lot of people your way. And that Gator brand, and I'm telling you, as an Auburn grad, that's a powerful-ass brand. It's very powerful, and it's iconic. Over 500,000 living alumni. There's your NIL.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you look at, the thing that got me for the recruiting was the summer that the Gators have had. I mean, last season and building the roster, obviously they made a big push, but you kind of saw what the operation really is set up for with this past summer, with the June and July that they had.
Oh my gosh.
From going from, in the 50s, 40s to now 13th in the Swamp 247 rankings. No 5 stars yet, but 14 4-stars. And you and I both know there's there's not much difference between. I mean, there is some time, but you get a bunch of 4 stars, like Rob said, maybe an inch or two, and maybe a tick on the 40, maybe 5 to 10 pounds, and that guy's a 5-star. Or throughout the season, you're going to see a lot of guys rewarded that 5th star. So the fact that they have 14 4-stars, I would guarantee that 4 to 5 will probably end up being 5 stars. And to have those commitments and keep those commitments, that's a shout out to Katie Turner and the work that they're doing. Savannah Bailey and the work that they're doing with GatorMade. It all fits together. And like Rob said, you get those over 500,000 living alumni. You get them those experiences. I mean, they're going to Japan. They're going to the stock exchange. They're going to Nike. They're doing all these things that are outside of football, but they speak to the brand exposure that these kids now want with the NIL and things like that. And when you put those opportunities in front of them, and you get the brand that the Gators are, one of the 4 original Jordan schools, all of those things, the birthplace of Gatorade. I mean, you got it. And I think that's what builds the pressure on these Florida football teams, is because people look and you got everything, and 6 and 7 ain't going to get it. 7 and 5 ain't going to get it, because you have these resources and you got a brand new, palace that you meeting in, dressing in, doing all these things. Right. I think that's what lends itself to the pressure. But if you look at the recruiting and where it's been, the operation has improved every single year, and it's only going to get better. I guarantee, and I know this is one thing that Billy Napier and Katie Turner are going to ask for all the bells and whistles that the new Swamp is going to get in the next 2 to 3 years. There will be an area designed specifically for recruits to sit in, go back in, get them some food, come back out. I guarantee it, because you know why? That's what Alabama has. That's what Georgia has. That's what A&M has. I think Auburn has it, Rob. Yeah. All of those things. Florida does not have that. So as much as everybody loves to see the recruits sitting right there in that south end zone, they're going to put them up in chair backs, have them come back and forth, get some grub, that kind of thing. And that's going to even enhance things even further.
You know what's going, but you know what? The one thing that Florida would not do is that they would not have recruits go out with toilet paper and throw it on trees. Okay, I mean, I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah. Well, our goal is, which I would imagine is surely that Florida will probably play Auburn in this next cycle of SEC scheduling. Yeah. The goal will be that for 2 years straight, there is no toilet paper thrown the week that Florida plays Auburn. That's the goal. So it's like in basketball. There you
go. Yeah. Lord, okay, for those that don't know.
And no shot at Rob, because Rob keeps it 100. He knows what time it is.
There you go. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, let us explain. When they win a game, they would go out after a game and they would TP all these trees and they hold up traffic, let people walk across the street. Well, take a couple minutes and tell us what that is about. It looks like it's been a tradition for quite a while.
Well, it goes back, I guess, 1972. Terry Henley, running back for Auburn out of Oxford, Alabama, on the team of Auburn that was picked 9th out of 10th in the preseason. And they were playing Alabama at the end of the year. Bama was number 2. I think Texas was number 1. They were already set to play in the Cotton Bowl. And Terry Henley said at a pep rally, he said, we're going to beat the number 2 out of Alabama. And that's the game that Auburn blocked 2 kicks in the last 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Bill Newton blocked the kicks. David Langner scored on both of them. And they rolled Toomer's corner with toilet paper after that. And now, not just after a win in football or basketball or golf or whatever, celebrating championships, they do it for all kinds of events, Olympic sports. Somebody wins. Okay. Somebody does something great. There's a great story. A rescue, some heroic action. They'll go roll Toomer's corner, and it gets crazy. Now, about 9 years ago, I guess it was back in 2010. Harvey Updike, an irate Alabama fan.
Remember that?
Yeah, he put Spike D80 in those trees.
There it is.
There it is, right there, boy.
I was there on January 29th when
hold that up for a minute.
This year when Auburn beat Tennessee, we were there for Florida women's basketball, but the night before Auburn beat Tennessee there at Auburn, and I wasn't aware. I thought they only rolled the trees for football.
No, it's
right. Yeah, I learned that it's pretty much like Rob said. Any reason to roll, and it's funny. I was there. Rob, and they really had to do a lot to get those trees together.
Oh, man.
We were there for the SEC softball tournament the previous spring, and the trees weren't ready yet. They weren't. They said, "Don't roll these trees. Roll those. Don't roll these." But by the time we went back by that January, those trees were fit and ready to roll. So shout out to the Auburn botany people to get it together and get the rebuild those trees. And I mean, because he did a doozy on them, man. And I'll say this as a Florida fan. Shame on Harvey Updike and whoever else applauded that.
Go into more details about that, Bob, because it's my understanding that he killed the trees or something. Is that what he did?
He got so irate. So he said some Auburn fan, there's probably an Alabama fan, put a Cam Newton jersey on the statue of Coach Bryant out in front of Bryant-Denny Stadium. That was his excuse. He lived in a trailer park in Dadeville, Alabama. He was a former state trooper in Florida in the Panhandle. Or Texas. But he lived and he's got a daughter named Alabama, and he's got another one named Crimson Tide. Well, I speak posthumously of Harvey Updike. He did die a few years ago.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He was. I remember Coach Dye was asked on one of those mini documentaries. He said, "Is Harvey Updike typical of Alabama fans?" And Coach Dye said, "No, Harvey Updike is typical of somebody with a miserable life." Because I mean, y'all know me. I'm married to Evolve for life, and I remarried. I've got an Alabama oldest daughter and 3 Auburn kids, and I do the Gators show every day. That's what makes the SEC so much fun. Is all these different fan bases. I mean, I go out on the trading floor at work for years. The head trader at Duncan Williams, he wins Trader of the Year every year. Adam Tooley is a Florida Gator, and so I mean, we have more fun. Because everything everything is about because we played each other. And by the way, Florida's last trip to Auburn was 2011. That's criminal. Auburn's last trip to Gainesville was 2019 when Jamari P. Ryan
closest school to Gainesville.
Yeah.
In the SEC. Way.
If you poll, and I can speak pretty well for Auburn people want the 3 biggest rivals. They want to keep Alabama, Georgia, Florida, or Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. That we want all 4 of them because Florida is – I go back – I've been watching Florida since I was a kid, and I grew up watching Wes Chandler, Chris Collinsworth out of Titusville Astronaut High School. But I still think Charlie Pell is so underrated for what he did. He got the Gator Nation. He said, look, if you got an orange shirt and a blue shirt, I don't care if you're from Naples or you're from Lake Wales or you're from Mayo up in tobacco country, pull for the Gator Nation. And Charlie Pell brought a toughness and a hard-nosed, full 60, get after your ass work ethic to Florida. And damn it, what he did, come on. I mean, it was ridiculous. And it ruined – I think he died, you know what? Charlie Pell's first year, they were 0-10-1. The next year, the Gators are 8-4. That at that time, the biggest turnaround in college football history. They beat Maryland in the Tangerine Bowl, like 23-22 or something. Back then, it was called the Tangerine Bowl. But Charlie Pell, there ought to be something done for him. Yeah, he made some mistakes. God Almighty, I've never made one. Have either of y'all? I mean, we know what happened. Right. Damn it! But Charlie, and we had his widow, Ward Pell, on the show a couple of years ago. That's one of the coolest conversations. If Charlie Pell went out on a Sunday afternoon and spent the whole day on the front porch with Ben Hill Griffin, and she said they spent 4 or 5 hours out there, probably talked about football for 5 minutes. They ate swamp cabbage. Talked about growing up in the country, getting through tough times and overcoming adversity. And when he left, Ben Hill Griffin said, there'll be a check delivered certified mail tomorrow to the athletic department with my name on it. You know what it's about. It was the largest check at the time ever written to Florida athletics. It's all about relationships, man. But if you're going to drink from the well, pay homage and respect to the ones who dug it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And I'll before you go in, Animal, I wanted to say that, and we can get off, but Auburn is one of my favorite cities in the SEC, and by far, Toomer's Corner lemonade is the best lemonade I've ever had in my life. So I'll leave it at that. It ain't even close.
And see, that's
oh
the
my
thing.
God, it's so good.
Listen, Animal, Loren is from Ohio. I love see, this is
I know, I know.
I go to these games. I love to get to talk to the fans of the other schools. I've always had this deal. When my school loses, I shake hands with as many of the opposing team's fans after the game as I can, because that takes away my frustration, because I kind of feed off of their excitement. I don't like losing, but you know what? It's one thing to get beat. It's another thing to stay beat. But it's all about relationships. That's what makes the SEC family. Look at that map over my shoulder. I feel like the weatherman.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that is really cool.
I need to get a bigger Florida though.
I think you should work on that. Hey, Loren, big news coming up this week about the game next week against Long Island. Okay, we know it's Long Island. We know there are going to be a lot of backups in this game to take a look at the future of Florida football. But they're going to also honor the past, and Billy Donovan being elected, I believe, in some type of Hall of Fame. Can you expand on that?
Well, I cannot. I don't know exactly what Hall of Fame it is, but obviously you could speak to Billy Donovan and what he did at the University of Florida. I mean, I think it was 5 Final Fours, a number of Elite Eights, the last up until Danny Hurley was, the last coach to go back to back. Just an innovative guy, definitely put Florida basketball on the map, and no matter what, I mean, shout out to Ty Golden and the job that they did. You see my Final Four chair, but Billy Donovan set the standard, and he made Florida a blue blood program. And so, I mean, Billy Donovan is one of those guys. I know they named the court after him. What's the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Is it the Florida Hall of Fame, or is it?
I think so. I saw this on Facebook. I saw this on Facebook a few minutes ago, and I didn't know if you knew it or not. I can't.
No, like I said, I've been out. I had to go get one in before I came on the show, so I was out there sweating for no reason at my age. It's kind of stupid, but I'm still doing it. But no, I mean, you just talk about Billy Donovan, and you just go down the list of guys and the people that he put his finger on. And then, I go back, and Rob does, and I think you do, Animal, too. I mean, one heck of a point guard, too. Took Providence to the Final Four, probably one of the better Final Fours we've had in the last 50 years, with Providence, Syracuse, Indiana, and UNLV that year. I mean, that was you throw some names out there, and I think it was intriguing because that backcourt was Billy Donovan and Delray Brooks, who had played for Bobby Knight. So the intrigue was, if Providence would have beat Syracuse, it'd have been Delray Brooks from Indiana playing against his home state in the final game, but they lost to Syracuse. And then obviously Keith Smart hit the shot there in New Orleans. Yeah. But back to Donovan as the coach, I mean, a guy that just cut his teeth under Rick Pitino's assistant, went to Marshall, did a great job at Marshall, and then ended up at Florida, and the rest is history. And Florida has always been on the fringe as a basketball school. Guys like Vernon Maxwell, they went to a Final Four with Lon Kruger, but Billy Donovan was a guy that kicked in the door with a bunch of, they were highly touted guys, but almost a bunch of misfits. But he got them to play hard. He got them to play together. And for that group of young men to decide, hey, we're going to collectively come back, when you had a guy like Corey Brewer who didn't have much money, but they said, hey, man, we got you. It was before NIL. It was before all that. You won't go hungry. When we eat, you eat, and there were some guys that had pro fathers on the team and things like that. So they were able to look out for one another. And I think it's just a brotherhood that has been sustained, and it set the standard for, what I think some success that Mike White had, and obviously what Ty Golden was able to accomplish.
As we look into our crystal balls, and I have a poll up on YouTube that asks the question: who do you think do the Florida Gators make the playoffs in 2025? We're going to go around and talk about and get your opinions in just a minute. Let me give you mine first. I think they have the talent. There's no question. I think the DJ Lagway, by the time Game 3 comes around, it's a Game 2 or Game 3 when they play Miami. I believe it's Game 2.
4.
Game 4. So really, the first 2-3 games going to be mainly
Game 3 is LSU. So
it'll be the first 2 games. They play Long Island, then they play another Division 3 type of school. But I think that as we get going into this season, the more they rest DJ Lagway and that ankle, I think it only does nothing but help them as they get ready for that tough SEC schedule. Rob, what are your thoughts on that? The first 2 games not being top-notch, not top-notch teams. Long Island, I forget who the second team is.
South Florida.
I mean, South Florida. Okay. So,
yeah. I mean, I think it's easier to get the guys focused when you've got a big first game, but you better use those games. It's not about how many points you can score. It's about you getting better as a team. And that's the sign of a good program too, is you put 90,000 plus in the Swamp, regardless of who you're playing, because the fans are coming there to see Florida play. They're Florida fans. They're not fans of that other school. So then I think people make too much out of Florida's schedule. So I picked them last year to win 8. I wasn't taking a pure contrarian view, but I was sitting there saying, these teams that you think are going to all be so good, some of them are not going to be that good. And Florida State was certainly a dumpster fire that smelled like 1,000 rotten fish carcasses. That was the worst. That was the worst. But you know what? They lost that locker room before they played Georgia. They couldn't handle not getting in the playoffs. Yeah. Well, Georgia did the opposite. Yeah. Said, hey, man, we're going to show them why they should have picked us. And they just curb stomped Florida State. But I think Florida's schedule is manageable. Again, it's a 12-chapter book. Just read them one at a time. How you play this week has everything that determines how you will play the next week. It's just like track and field. You tell every kid about finish lines. Don't run to it, run through it. Because how you finish, how you walk off the field, your body language, how you approach Sunday, Monday, all week long has everything in the world. It's just merely shaping how you're going to approach next Saturday. So a team that's not that good, they start off 4-1, 5-0. Vanderbilt last year, now I don't think Vanderbilt knew how to win last year. Now they know how to win. They'll be better. Florida, you got 6-1 finish, 20-all. We don't know if they'd have beat Georgia, but you know what? The synergy, nothing succeeds like success. So I think those first 2 games, they're not scrimmages. You're going to take them seriously. Hey, Florida State, Jordan Travis got hurt against North Alabama. Boy, I bet they wish they'd never played him in that game because Florida State football's been off the railroad track, just derailed with 4-ball tires in a ditch since then. So I just think Florida's schedule, I got them splitting with the Texas schools and losing at Ole Miss. That puts them at 10-2. I may not be exactly right, but I think that Florida, the difference is both lines of scrimmage, Tyreek Sapp, Caleb Banks, LJ McCray's coming on, and then the secondary. There's a lot of talent. Florida, when you get it field level, is like LSU. Those are the 2 schools throughout my life. When you're down on the field, you're looking at those guys, and you just think about the Florida athletes that they have. And what makes Florida so much better, no school and no college in America benefits more from great high school track and field, which is your insurance policy for every sport you play. Make your kids do track and field. Don't even have spring practice. Do that or do lacrosse or do both.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense as far as Florida State goes. The addition of Malzahn, is it now that he's the offensive coordinator now at Florida State? When we got that news at the very last game of the year, was it the very last game that we heard about that against Florida State, or the one of the bowl weeks we heard about that?
I think it was bowl week after he got done.
I think it was bowl week too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which he was resigning. Loren, your thoughts? I mean,
the Gators. I mean, definitely, I see a playoff team. 10-2, they're in with that schedule. 9-3, the right 9, the right 3. I think they're in too, because I think last season they were, they were a team that, like I said, a lot of people thought of, and then it started to be, man, what if Lagway wouldn't have got hurt against Georgia?
Yeah.
What if Mertz doesn't get hurt against Tennessee and they make that, they don't have that abysmal first half? Hell, they're 9-3 then. So, I mean, I think that
I know.
Think,
you think about that.
Yeah. So, definitely, will they make the playoff? I'm going to say no.
I know
right now, but I'm not going to say that Florida won't have a great season. I'm just going to say I got them at 9-3, but then I think they could win every game on their schedule. So, I don't know. I don't know if you got to get everything going the right way. And I think they're young at some positions, not as deep. I mean, we'll see if Lagway really is what people think he's going to be. I mean, they already got him posing for the statue, if you ask a lot of fans. But, from a football standpoint, I agree with Rob. They got everything they need, but the schedule is daunting. You got some road trips. What concerns me is this is a team that under Billy Napier has not really played well. You got to think that trip, that stretch that they went on was after really a poor showing at Texas on the road. They did go on the road and play well against Florida State. They didn't play great, but they played well. So this is a team that's got to prove that when you take about 15, 16 guys off the roster, you can only travel 65, to a road game. It's a little different. So can this team get ready, get on the plane, and take a business trip in the SEC, which is what you got to do. You got to take business trips. You got to show up and you got to show out, and you do it. That's how you win this league, is on the road. Anybody can play at home. It's real easy to play at home in the SEC because, like Rob said, the fans show up. They love it. But can you go into another man's house, get in his yard, and kick the door in? And that's what makes the men in this league. So if they can win on the road, then they're a playoff team. But that's what it's going to take.
And you hit on something interesting, that you thought they would win 9 games, but it has to be the right 9 games to win. And I think that's such a key point to keep in mind as we get ready for the football season. Of course, it kicks off this weekend when the Iowa State Cyclones State. That is a Big 12 conference game, by the way. Nice way to start off the regular season. And then next week they kick it all off, a big game for Labor Day weekend, and then we come to the point where we're going to see a legend have his final show, and that is Lee Corso. Ron Browne, you followed the SEC for a number of years. I would think that just a little bit about Lee Corso. I mean, talk about Lee.
He brings a lot. I mean, and I've been watching him. We all have for a long time. Just the passion and how much fun college. This is supposed to be fun, and he gets into. He knows how to get people riled up. That's what he does. But he's been around a long time. He's at Florida State, Indiana. But he's been with ESPN since the 87, I think. So he's been there from the beginning after the CFA decision in 84. We're going to miss him because, he goes there. The people show up to see him. Kirk Herbstreit has been wonderful. They've got, Pat McAfee on now. But Lee Corso is that connection. He's about 90 years old. He takes us back to our dads and our grandfathers while we love the games. Because, at the end of the day, we get mad after losses, but we're still going to get up and support our school. There's two things I don't see. I've never seen 2 things so far. I've never seen someone so mad they gave up being an American and moved somewhere else. And number 2, I never seen someone give up on being a fan of a school they grew up pulling for. They say it, but it's like having family. Your kid loses a game when he's 6 and you're going to give up on him. In fact, we double down, we triple down. And if you talk to fundraisers at different schools in the SEC, and I think this is probably true across the country, their biggest years in fundraising typically come after their worst years on the field or on the court.
That's true.
Hey, if we don't start spending some money, we're going to get further behind in the rearview mirror. So you know what? No matter what happens, we're going to buy that gear. We're going to put on our colors, and if we expect the team to play a full 60, by God, you better stay the full 60 and don't leave till they've knelt for the prayer at midfield and the players from both sides have shaken hands, hugged one another, and that's what keeps us coming back again and again and again. That's why we love it.
I love game day. I love what they do. I love Saban being on board. I think Saban adds a lot to it.
He does.
I just can't get. I don't know why. I just can't get used, Loren. I just can't get used to Pat McAfee. I don't know what it is.
Well, first of all, he's a punter. Yeah, that's the first thing. And they're goofy,
you're right.
They're
that's
goofy dudes, but he's a punter. I like McAfee. I mean, I don't know if he fits that show, but I like McAfee. I mean, I'm being funny. Pat McAfee, if you ever want to come on, I think all three of us would love to have you on our shows. But in any regard, no. I mean, it's definitely going to be a change. I mean, you talk about a guy like Lee Corso, the impression that he's made on quite a few young men over the years as a coach, as a mentor. I mean, the rise of ESPN college football, I would say, owes 85% of it to Lee Corso and his ability to really not take himself so serious. And when you do those things and you bring a knowledge of the game to that, I think you can't lose. And you know, a lot of people watching this show and watching the shows we're on and reading us and attending these games fell in love with and couldn't wait till what's that, 12:56 or 11:56 or so when he puts that headgear on. And I mean, it just changes the whole thing. And so he will be sorely missed. And I mean, you talk about the Sunshine Scooter, man. I mean, that's the thing too. People, I mean, he was a decent football coach, but he was a bad boy at Florida State, man. If you go back on YouTube and they pulled up some of his, I mean, he was nice. So, I mean, you talk about a guy that's been in football for over 78, almost 80 years and been involved with it, and to have the impact that he had on the mass indulgence of the college game, I mean, it's going to be sorely missed. So you talk about legends. I don't know where they're going to put a statue, but I would say definitely one in Bristol, because I'm sure what the worldwide leader of sports owes a lot to Lee Corso. Yeah.
The best moment I remember, this was a few years ago. I forget, he was doing a game pick and he was at the final team and he goes in for the helmet, starts to put it on, throws it off, says, "Oh, fuck it." Right on national TV. I mean, and what the best part about it was the reaction from Corso and Chris Fowler when they, I believe it was Chris Fowler that was on there when that happened. I mean, that was just one of the classic moments that you see about Lee Corso.
I mean, you talk about. I mean, it's some. You know, I mean that show just as a whole. I mean, you got Desmond Howard.
It's like church.
You got Kirk Herbstreit, third generation Ohio State Buckeye. Shout out to Kirk, another Southwest Ohio guy from my stomping grounds. I mean, you know, Fowler or Reese Davis, take your pick. I mean, you're talking about guys that are
Reese Davis,
super pros. You talked about Saban, but just the celebrity guest pickers. I mean, that show is classic, man. And I know a lot of people are talking about Big Noon Kickoff. I like it, but it ain't nothing like College Game Day is what it is. I mean, when you hear that song, if you want a little chain in your ching chang, I mean, that's what it is, Like, I mean, me and Rob talked about it. It's a game of kings played by savages, and College Game Day encompasses it all. It does.
What's interesting? I talk about the fact that the football kicks off this weekend. There's actually 5 games that's going to be taking place this Saturday, and there's another one where UNLV is they're going to be playing their first game. The reason why I mentioned that, the former head coach of the Florida Gators, Dan Mullen, now the head coach of UNLV.
My guy. Yeah. I'm rocking with I'm rocking with Vegas. Yeah, I'm rocking with Vegas.
Yeah,
ahead, Rob.
And I'm just saying the game day experience. I worked with Reese Davis 89 and 90 at Channel 3 in Columbus, Georgia. We had more fun. Really? Yeah, and Reese is an Alabama grad. He's a good dude. He's born in Chicago, kind of grew up in Hamilton, Alabama. As good as guy as you're going to meet. And he's as genuine. He is what he is. And we used to ride around in the late 80s, early 90s and say, we need to get back to the basics. This game's too much technology. Let's get the old long, fancy pot passers like the Beverly Hillbillies used to use, the pool sticks to pass the food at the pool table. Let's get them putting the scores up with Chris Schenkel, and the guys on the set and pictures of guys on a phone with live reports. But that's what is so special about Corso is that he's about 90. And you know what? I hope he stays involved doing something because this keeps him alive. That's how important this is to him. And you know what the greatest thing a player or coach can give a fan base is hope. There's always hope because sooner or later the race goes to the horse who thinks he can win. That's why they put blinders on him. You can't worry about all the distractions. And game day, you're right, Loren. When it comes on, I mean, I'm up at 5 a.m. on Saturday and going to bed at 2 a.m. on a college football Saturday. Yeah. Pro football, it's fun, but you're dozing in and out of naps on the couch watching the games unless you're watching a specific team. College football, the portal, NIL, all that stuff, throw it out the window, man. Every day we get closer toward game day, the fans take back over. We're going to be fine, and the future is as bright as I've ever seen it. The game's great. And you know what? The free market will work all this stuff out. This has been a blast. Thanks for letting me come on.
Hey, no problem here. Now, before we go, first of all, I want to thank Ron for you for coming on. Loren, of course, you coming on. Take it, Rob. I'm going to give you the floor for a couple of minutes and talk about your show that you have on in the mornings.
Well, we go 8 to 9 a.m. Central, Monday through Friday at Sidelines_live. That's our new Twitter handle, but we're live on YouTube is where the channel is. SEC Sidelines Sports Network, executive producer Brendan Martin. And we cover all 16 schools. It's like having 16 kids and you're a parent. You got to show love to all of them. And then we get reinforcements at night on this channel with, Gator Bait and the Lowdown with Lauren Meadows, the Buddy Martin show. We really get after it. We do an Auburn show called Die Hard, DYE Hard, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Central. We got Scarbo Knows, Kevin Skarbinski, great writer out of Birmingham. We cover a lot. And Terry Bowden's about to launch a show on there as well. So we just get at it. We engage our guests, let them talk. And you know what? Loren and I both do. We will bend over backwards not to be homers, including Homer Simpson, the greatest homer of them all.
There you go. Loren, you got a show called The Lowdown.
Great show,
talk about that a minute here.
Yeah, yes. The Lowdown with Lauren Meadows is kind of where I would say hip-hop meets Florida football or Florida sports in a lot of ways. We aim to not just talk about Florida football, but engage the women's sports. We had Kelly Ray Finley on, friend of the show, a couple weeks ago. We have a monthly segment with Ben Troop, What's Got Troop Tripping. And then our weekly segments, we have Kicks of the Week, where we show off some kicks from my shoe collection, which is arguably the best, not just in the media, in the Gator media, but maybe in the media as a whole, as well as we do a segment called Hyper Have At It, where we discuss different topics. If it's hype, then we're not really messing with it. If it's have at it, then something good is going to come of it. But it's 9:00 every Tuesday evening on the SEC Sidelines Live Network. Rob Browne is a weekly guest. I don't even call him a guest. He's more like a not even a same host. I ain't even gonna say co-host, but he's always locked and loaded and ready to go. And we have some great guests, man. Some of the great good sports writers here in Gainesville, Graham Hall,
Zach
Goodall, Nick Delator, Victorious. We had my man the Animal on Tuesday. So I mean, like I said, just a lot of different people that you normally don't hear from. We're gonna have Lena Bailey of UF Women's Soccer on soon. I'm gonna try to get my man CJ Ingram to maybe click with us. He's a former football guy, so maybe have him on, talk a little football. Won 2 state titles at Hawthorne as a quarterback, so maybe see if I can get him on this week and talk a little basketball, talk a little football. So, but just that's what we do, man. And join the network. We already know about the great Buddy Martin. Hop on Gator Bait, subscribe. Got great reading from Buddy, Franz Beer, Carlton Reese. I'll do a weekly preview of the game, weekly preview segment. So just doing a lot, man. It's a lot out there, a lot of content, people hungry for it.
Yes, sir.
And join us on all of our shows for sure.
Oh, man, and you guys do an awesome job. Now, for those who are wondering, next Thursday, we're not going to be doing Football Insider. That show's going to be on Tuesday. So if you guys have some time, want to join next Tuesday, hit me up. Be more than happy to have you on. But Ron, it is such an honor and a privilege to have you on. You are welcome to come on anytime. Just hit me up. Would love to have you on during the course of the year, because I think the SEC is going to be hot and heavy with a lot of conversations during the course of the year. And, of course, Loren, you can join me on Tuesday as well. You're more than happy to. And we'll preview the game coming up this weekend and get you ready for week 1 in college football, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Love your show.
Thank you, and we'll catch you all hopefully very soon here down the road on Have Full and Cup of Joe. Thank you very much, guys.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The Rob Browne and Loren Meadows joining me here in this edition of the Animal Football Inside. Have Full and Cup of Joe. Okay. Thanks, guys, for joining me. It's been terrific. A good hour full of conversation, talking about football and everything. And we're getting you set up for what's going to be a very interesting season. Kicks off next Saturday when the Gators take on Long Island. They're going to honor Billy Donovan during the course of the game. As Loren said, I don't remember what he's going to be honored for, but they're doing something for him. For that game. So it's going to be very interesting to see what it is. But it gets underway next Saturday in Florida Field as the Gators take on Long Island. I believe that is a night game. Well, you know what? Let's go over some of the games that's going to be happening in week 1. And it gets underway Thursday night. As Boise State, some of the games, Boise State taking on South Florida. Other games, UT Martin taking on Oklahoma State. Nebraska at Cincinnati on ESPN. That could be a very good game. Friday, Western Michigan at Michigan State on FS1. You might want to check that out. Auburn will be at Baylor. Let's see. Then we got our Saturday matchups. The big one, Texas at Ohio State. That is next Saturday's game at 11 a.m. There's going to be a full slate of games. Alabama will be at Florida State. That would be a 2:30 matchup, Central Time, actually. And then, of course, the Florida Gators and their game when they take on Long Island. Should be a fantastic game, and looking forward to that. Again, for those that are just joining us, the SEC has announced that they're going to a 9-game season next year. Starting next year, they'll be able to play 3 teams on a continuous basis, and the other 6 teams they'll have to rotate. It's going to be very interesting. Hopefully, they get to go chance to go to Missouri. Would love to see them play in Missouri once again. Buccaneer news, which Chris Godwin, Tristan Wirfs are not on injured reserve, so they'll be on the 52-man roster when the final cuts are being made. Bucs have a game tomorrow night against Buffalo. Do not expect the starters to play at all. Well, it's been an interesting show. I'm glad you guys joined me. Got a chance to see it here tonight, and we'll be back on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Be sure to join me. Hopefully, Loren Meadowns will join me, and any other guests that we can get. Until then, take care. God bless. And always remember that if you're not a Gator, you're primed to be Gator bait. Good night, everybody, and God bless. If it'll play.
Thanks for joining Joe Fulford on Half Full and a Cup of Joe. Don't forget to tune in next time for more football talk, analysis, and fun. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Half Full and a Cup of Joe. And remember, always keep your cup half full and your team spirit full. See you next time. Thanks for joining Joe Fulford on Half Full and a Cup of Joe. Don't forget to tune in next time for more football talk, analysis, and fun. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Half Full and a Cup of Joe. And remember, always keep your cup half full and your team spirit full. See you next time.